immortality!
What's up, Epic 7 players? After literally 6 weeks of reruns, we finally got a new unit to summon for. But is she actually worth it? Well, you're about to find out. Welcome to my guide for Oops, that's an anime. Welcome to my guide for Jade. Oops, that's a different game. What I meant to say was welcome to my guide for Melissa. Melissa is your friendly neighborhood vampire, except she's not so friendly at all, cause she gives humans the suck and has pent up vengeance against a dude who dumped her and had another kid with another woman, so Melissa is literally a female cuck. Because of that bitter rage though, she is starving. You see her holding her little belly with that smug look? She wants the suck on your neck, not anywhere else. Just so you know. Anyway, she has a really high base attack on par with Ludwig, and actually her stats are identical to Ludwig since they're both Mage Leos. So suffice to say, she's a glass cannon and she gon' hit hard. But how hard can she bite? Well, let's go into her skills. Skill 1 attacks one enemy with up to a 75% chance to debuff them with unhealable. The lower her health, the more damage this skill does. And with a soul burn of 1 soul, this is her most damaging skill, modifier wise. Skill 2 attacks one enemy, granting herself immortality after using the skill. With a 1.5 modifier, this skill can dish out some good damage, and the immortality means she can attack the likes of Emoken or Arbiter Vildred and live to tell another tale the next turn she gets. And so long as the enemy can't strip the immortality, she can be good bait for water and moonlight units to all attack her while she has the immortality up. Just make sure you can heal her after her turn ends, as in Arena, you can get killed by lightning after she takes a turn and is still at 1 HP, so be careful of that. And lastly, skill 3 performs a very sick and well done animation and turns into Nosferatu, attacking yet again a single enemy, cursing them for 2 turns and granting an extra turn if this skill crits. Not only that, but this doesn't have elemental disadvantage against water units, meaning you won't miss or do reduced damage, like other fire units can do against water units. So this is mostly her niche that would make her at all worth summoning and building for. Cursed targets take a whopping 40% damage whenever they or another ally is attacked with a single target attack. So, pair with other single target DPSs, you can take out 3 units instead of 2. Likewise, going from S3 into S2 can potentially kill a really tanky unit or even kill Arbiter Vildred if you build her damage high enough and don't miss from Dreamblade. So the goal to maximize curse damage is to curse someone, then use her S2 or S1 on a different defense broken enemy, which will amplify how much damage the cursed guy takes, potentially wiping them both out in one swoop. However, curse can be resisted or prevented by immunity buff, and well, they made curse entirely useless in PvE since it can't work on bosses or elites, leaving her to be strictly a PvP unit or at best a worse Sirmia or Soul against Golem. And while her S3 does have no disadvantage against water units, well, her S2 and S1 will. And her S3 is on a long 5-turn cooldown after Mola, so if you can't take the water unit out with the curse, or if there's multiple water units, she'll struggle. So she's held back immensely by these roadblocks, making a stripper necessary for her to do well as relying on the target you plan to curse not having high resistance, unless you go high effectiveness on her to counter that. So those are her skills, but as you can see, there's quite a few factors holding her back, and in the grand view of things, you're better off using other units. Trying to combo with Lilia's Cleave? Well, just use Ludwig to accomplish the same thing, but better since instead of just 2 targets, he can cleave everyone at once. Trying to go S3 into S2 to kill one really tanky unit? Well, just use Watcher Shuri. Trying to kill Arbiter? Just use Lily Better Spez. So, she's replaceable by various units. Not only this, but to get the best out of her, you need one of 3 comps. Tywin plus Bassar, Alots plus another nuker, or Tamisaria combo. Without one of these combinations, you're gonna have a real hard time making her work as a DPS, and as I said, she'll have little use in PvE over practically anyone else. So I personally think she gets worse the higher up the PvP ladder you are, as there's just better options and immunity is rampant up there, forcing you to use Bassar. And if you're in the lower leagues, you likely don't have the combinations I spoke of. With that said, she can work. It may not be the best, but certainly still usable. So if you want to use her because she's an adorable pale and soft vampy, well, at least she's better than Lilibet. And there's some actual hope for her via exclusive equipment in the future. The only thing I wish they did change was make her curse still apply to bosses and elites, but at least like half the value, which would only be 20% damage. I think that's fair and would have at least made her more usable in a general sense, but for now, she's quite strictly an average PvP unit. But that doesn't stop you lolicons, does it? So let's move on to cats. These are the best places to farm them from and buy from AP shops. For Raid, she can actually reach some insane morale comps for it, so at the least for those that are building her, she'll be a good DPS for most of the bosses excluding Juvial Console. Now, it's time to talk about builds. I think her role is mostly singular, however, there is some case to be made for a better Guild War version, but first, let's talk about build 1. This one is going to be her most used, relying solely on Bassar plus Tywin for high level PvP, or Tamisaria or Oxlots for mid to low PvP, relying on CR pushers to make up for her lack of speed. If you're using Tywin, you only need 50% crit chance at most, since you want to push her up with his S2, allowing her to get even more damage due to his crit chance buff. Otherwise, you do need 100% crit if you want her to get the extra turn from her S3, which you must always get, otherwise you lose. Since she has immortality, you can forget about tankiness as it's not really needed. If you want to use her in high level PvP, you likely will need immunity set, as FCC can screw you up with her provoke, or Dizzy with a counter into stun if you hit her with the curse. After damage and crit, try to get some effectiveness. Generally with this build though, you're better off just cursing a DPS unit instead of something like Ruel, relying on a Saria or Tywin to defense break her instead, so you can curse the DPS unit, then use her S2 to kill the tank, killing the DPS with the curse damage in the process. That's your best bet instead of aiming for high effectiveness. For artifacts, generally for Tywin plus Bassar comp, she'll be forced to run Tag of Hells so they can soul burn their stuff. But if using Tamisaria comp or Oxlots, you can go with Portrait instead for more damage. Calandra works too, although her S3 will usually be compromised unless you can debuff the team beforehand. With this build though, you got a nuker that can potentially take out 2 units, something most other single target DPSs can't do first turn. Now for the second build, this one I briefly theorized in my Guild War debut of Melissa, which is a fast Mel. She has a 112 base speed, so it's easily capable of reaching over 200 speed. Remember fast Bikins? Yeah, this mimics that gear-wise. With her high attack, she'll still do decent damage, but the purpose of this is to run high effectiveness via her Bloody Rose artifact. Land the curse, and that allows your actual nuker to take out 2 targets alongside her, using a stripper like Bassar or Saria to get past immunity against comps that bring 1 tank plus 2 DPS units. At max upgrade, Bloody Rose is 60% effectiveness, meaning you can get around another 60% from substats alone without sacrificing a ring slot, or perhaps you do, and you can then nail Ruel's and Montmorency's with the curse and take out their DPS and them via something like Watcher Shuri. But this build can also amplify units like a Coley or Sid. Fast DPSs not reliant on CR pushing so they can kill more reliably due to her curse buff and damage, and with her immortality, she'll live any follow-up attack or even bait low health Krauls, S3s, and still live. I think if you have the big nukers I mentioned before that replace her in PvP, then this setup is probably best if you still want to use her in Guild War without replacing those better options. And in the case you do lose your Tywin or Basar Ludwig combo, for example, you have her as a backup. So those are the builds I recommend, and that should wrap it up for the guide. She has potential, but whether she's good or not depends on the units you have available. So hope you guys enjoyed the guide. I got a 30-minute Guild Wars sesh trying her out with Themyscira. That'll be in the end screen annotations. I also spilt my blood trying to summon for her, so you can watch that too. And yeah, let me know what you guys think of Melissa, which comps you found successful, and if you're going to be using her in every way possible, because my waifu. Before you go though, smash that like button, bite that notification bell, and suck on that subscribe button for more Epic 7 epicness.